Welcome to The Good Ride, a place where when you're average, it feels better than it looks, but I'm here to share that feeling with you. I'm James Beastie. This is the Nitro Profile TlS Step-On boot. And this is personally my favorite boot out of all the step-on boots I've tried. It has great longevity of flex, pretty good durability, great response, and while it still has a lot of the trappings that step-on boots do by being locked into the high back, it doesn't have a lot of lateral motion and can sometimes make your stance with feel a little awkward. It is the boot I recommend the most along with the Venture step-on for 2026, and it's a great alternative to the Burton Photon step-on and the Burton Ion step-on. And while I'm still more personally into the Team BOA and Union Force combo as my daily driver, this is what I use for testing when I'm trying step-on bindings. So I've ridden these a few days now, rode them with my Union Atlas step-on, and compared them against the Burton Highshot X Pros. I don't have those boots with me anymore, but I will occasionally reference them. And this is an honest, objective review for you, the consumer, with no brand oversight from Nitro. They did not pay me to do this review, but I did ask to keep these because they are a Good Ride favorite, and these are the boots I want to use when I'm testing step-on technology. And I can make these honest, objective reviews thanks to this wonderful community support, but especially because of Lauer Board Shop. They're a great local shop with a large online presence. So they give you that taste of a local shop purchase, even if it's online, in terms of customer support, pricing, shipping, all that jazz. And they've been selling to snowboarders longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders on their lifts. So if you want to support honest, objective content and a great shop, click through our links to Lauer Board Shop and buy something. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, when it comes to weight, these are 2 pounds 11 ounces, which is on the heavier side of medium, but still not terribly heavy. But when compared with most step-on bindings like the Union Atlas step-on you see here, that's 1 pound 15 ounces. Overall, it's a medium to medium light setup. This is one of the heavier step-on bindings too, so others get much lighter than almost 2 pounds. Now, when it comes to fit, these fit my size 9 feet really well. Nitro always does a great job with that. And there isn't much pack out happening at the bottom of this boot in comparison to a lot of other boots. It is thick at the top, but as you get down to the bottom, it gets a little thinner, so it doesn't pack out too much where you need it not to pack out. Now, in terms of width, I find that the regular Nitro boots are much wider, especially right here. And these are pretty tight for my E width feet. So I definitely needed to do a heat molding with these to get them to work, but at least the liner is very heat moldable. And I can press these out on the sides enough to have a good fit. I do wish they made these in wides though. Hopefully that's something coming down the line. When it comes to the insole, Nitro does a pretty good job with their insole. It's thicker on the sole. It provides some shock absorption. It doesn't really provide any kind of contour for your foot though, in comparison to, let's say, my heat molded footprint insole technology, Game Changer Sport Pro insole. What a mouthful, but it's a great insole if you want a low-priced heat moldable insole. If you don't want to heat mold it, put it in the toaster oven and do all that, you can go with the King Foam Orthotic Elite, and that has a little more shock absorption. It's a little softer flex, and it conforms to your arch when you step into it. I found that after extensive testing and comparing, these are my favorites. But really, any good aftermarket insole, all the way up to a custom orthotic, which is seriously expensive, like $300–400 sometimes, really makes the boot feel better. So something to consider out there. Now, when it comes to the lacing system, this is pretty busy, especially when you're first putting it on, because you have this kind of tangly TlS system, but it's really easy on and off. All you do is pop all these out, then you go forward and you pop this boa and you're off. Getting it on the boa is slow, like all boas, but it's only one boa. And then inside you have the same crossover lacing system where you take this lace, cross it over and pull up. But what I like for 2026 is they now have Velcro in the Cloud9 liner. It holds this better at the top, gives you a little bit more response and a better fit around the shin. But you just pull each one up, pop it in, make sure it's all the way in the TlS lacing system here, and then you're good to go. So while it's a little more busy and can be a little more tangly and awkward than boa, it's a lot faster on and it has excellent adjustability, especially with this ankle support, which I find is really important when it comes to just getting good support, because you don't have an ankle strap anymore. That really comes into play when you're off-piste and you're riding through uneven, messy snow, and you don't want your boot to fold over on the front and feel unsupportive. Now let's talk flex here. This is medium, bordering on medium stiff, and the response on the hill being connected to the high back here is exceptional. It's a huge bump up above almost any regular strap and boot combo, no matter how stiff and responsive. It's just on another level. Step on is so quick edge to edge. So what I often do is I don't tighten the top too much, and then I just get the ankle support and the bottom, and then I have a little easier forward lean and a little easier range of motion tip to tail. But that is one of the problems when you have a stiffer step-on boot. It doesn't allow you to have a stance width like this. It kind of brings you more vertical because this is stuck into the high back. So you don't have this lean like you normally do with a traditional strap binding. That can be a deal breaker for some. Others can get used to it. It just comes down to personal preference. And when it comes to flex retention, you can see there's a good bit of articulation right here at the ankle. So there isn't a lot of boot distortion as this flexes over and over and over again. And in the back, you have a hard plastic spine that goes almost to the top of the boot. And that does two things. It holds this attachment in place to the high back, and then it also helps retain the flex as well. Nitro just knows how to make a boot that lasts a long time. And I would say, hands down, this is the longest lasting flex of any step-on boot. And that's why I chose it, and that's why I recommend it a lot. Then you have very good durability, but not amazing durability. These toes can wear if you accidentally hit your edge on a lift. Never try to have the edge rest here. It'll chip away at that. But sometimes it happens when other people are moving their boards around on a crowded chair and you get nicked. This is not going to hold up as well as some boots. I wish they had more protection there. Now let's talk shock absorption. This is no team boa or TlS or lace. That airbag is so much better than these, but when paired up with almost every option for step-on binding out there, they all have a ton of shock absorption. This is fine, and it's pretty shock absorbent. There's a lot of EVA foam between the sole and your foot. It makes for a pretty smooth, damp, somewhat shock absorbent ride. And this sole has good board feel. When it comes to traction, I do like my team Vibram insoles here. Vibram, Vibram, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this isn't bad at all, and it's very good traction. Now, when it comes to footprint, this was 29.8 centimeters, just like my team's, and that's pretty reduced for a size 9. I'm not sure how it goes throughout the entire range, but remember, when you're in step-on, no matter what binding you're using, you have more high back here. So this might be better on the toe side than some, but if you get this centered properly on your board, which you should, it will have more potential for heel drag, but you have to be a really insanely good carver, and you have to be on not that wide of a board for how hard you want to carve. So I think if you pair this up with the proper width board for really hard carving, you shouldn't boot out. If you're riding a board that's borderline narrow for your boot size, then yeah, maybe you might hit the heel on an insanely hard carve, but it takes a lot of work to do so. I love to make carving turns, but I would by no means call myself a carver, and I don't boot out. But if you're a level up from me, you see how I ride in the videos here, then there is potential, depending on the board width, for heel drag. But at least there's a reduced footprint, so toe drag might not be as much of a problem compared to other boots out there. These are pretty close to Burton. Usually Burton's a few millimeters less in terms of footprint throughout the entire size range. Now, in terms of warmth, I think they're pretty good. Nothing great, nothing terrible, kind of upper middle. And overall, it's very hard to get the right boot for step-on. There aren't a lot of options out there in comparison to regular traditional strap. And with the addition of FASE technology, it makes quick in and out with a more traditional binding feel a lot easier. These are not as fast as the step-on system, and for a lot of people that's really important. But in comparison to step-on, these have that same great modern board feel that allows the board to flex naturally underfoot. The FASE system, especially Battalion and Rome, have way more adjustability. The Jones doesn't have as much adjustability, it's more like step-on. But with Jones FASE, you're getting a stiffer flex underfoot without a dead feel. In comparison to bindings like the Supermatics, I feel like you're getting less board feel, a little bit more of an older binding feel, a much heavier binding, and a heavier overall setup. So it really comes down to personal preference. While I'm still into my Nitro teams and my Union forces, I think a step-on combination with something like the Union Atlas step-on that has stance with adjustability, if you can fit centered in the binding like I can at a size 9, I'm right in the middle, along with the Nitro Profile TlS step-on, you have an excellent combination. You've got a great feel underfoot. You have incredibly fast response. And if you can get past the way it makes you stand and the lack of lateral movement from tip to tail, I think you have an amazing quick release system that will allow you to be just as fast, if not faster, than your skier buddies and give you amazing response. So if you're gonna go step on, this is my favorite combination right here, the Atlas step on and the Profile TlS. There you have it.